Hey, what's going on YouTube? And welcome to this month's Beige Carpet After Party live stream review for live stream number 76 that we just finished watching. We've been kind of like talking a little bit behind the scenes, getting ready for the video, and I think we've got a fun one for you where we're going to talk about this year's Lunar New Year content, which seems really exciting and fun, I think. And with us, we've got our illustrious panel of guests, two of which specifically requested to be on the video for Lunar New Year. So I'm going to let everybody say hello, and then we're going to dive straight into talking about this month's content. We're going to start with dBarry.
So you all knew I'd be here, and I'm sure everyone's really excited to hear everything I have to say about something that I've been just incessantly clamoring about for 2 to 5 years.
Yeah. I think if we didn't have you here today, like, it would be a crying shame. And I'm glad to have you.
I'm glad to be here. I'm sure there's at least 6 people in the comments who are just not excited to hear my voice right now.
Yeah, for sure. Sketch, hello.
Hello. So, Lunar New Year stuff's hype. Like all this stuff for sure. It's the best FFBE content. And continue to be a thing. Game was fine. We have some stuff to talk about.
Yeah. Good stuff. And our second person who requested specifically to be on the stream is YinToYang.
Let us celebrate the coming of Ong with a drink, my friends.
Let's do it. So speaking of YouTube and speaking of comments, because Barry mentioned it, I got a request just before we started this that maybe these Beige Carpet After Parties should be live streams instead of videos. What do you guys think about that before we get into it, by the way? And I want, if you hear this and you see this, like, post a comment as well, like, would you rather this be a video or a live stream? But what do you guys who are part of the crew think?
Yeah, why not?
And why not? It's better to get the community involved, and I feel like sometimes these videos more often have more community involvement than the actual live stream itself.
Okay. I mean, I'm all for it. Enough people certainly ask about, like, am I going to be doing one of these during the chat and stuff? So, like, enough people do bring it up. So, I mean, I'd be for it if people would be interested. So let us know in the comments, and we're going to get started. So without further ado, featured Neovision unit, Divine Archer Ong. I would be remiss if I didn't let Barry go first.
It's true. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the coming of, obviously, the bow meta. We're here. It's time. Easily looking at the best sprite that the game has ever produced. I'm completely unbiased in this matter. But this is really exciting, and I'm torn, as excited as I am. We're looking at an obvious SLB damage dealer weeks, theoretically, before Neovisions Plus. This could go either way. But because I see the buffer tag, and because we see some of the other things that he can do, including that 70% field, I'm really, really cautiously optimistic that Ong isn't just going to be a metaphorical flash in the pan, that he's going to last longer than 3-4 weeks, and that there's an actual justifiable reason to pull him other than this Clash of Wills another. I mean, I've been waiting for Ong to get some form of something for a really long time. I'm a little bummed that they're not also rerunning his original story event, but that's neither here nor there. But the sprite looks incredible. This brief glancing over of what he can do is incredible. My only issue is that he is not a Neovisions Plus, which may or may not put him on a very short timer.
So for you other guys, what are your hopes about, like, what those buff abilities are? Because he's got the buffer tag. So what else do we want to see here for a unit to have some lasting power for you guys?
So
Well-
basically, he to me, if he doesn't have a very high Imperial for himself, that's a bad flaw to me because bow is not very common. So like he needs to bring it himself because you can't just assume somebody's randomly going to have like a 50% bow Imperial. If we're looking at DPS stuff, like that's the number one to me. The number two is if he has killers that aren't common race killers that are easily given by other Clash of Will supports. I think that the field is good. However, there are units with similar fields or the same very, very soon and are MB+. So to make Ong last, he either has to have close to the beginning of MV+ damage, or the supportive kit has to provide him with things that aren't commonly found in other units' kits already.
Sure.
So, like, an example, something that I haven't really seen done that I would really like is a rolling amplify killer ability. So, basically, like, this turn, your units have 100, then it has 150, then it has 200 AoE. And the reasoning for this is because they're not going to just give you those killers that last 3 turns, right? So this is a way that they could nerf that ability while allowing you to have setup turns that allow you to set up the party in a way where you can do whatever you want and you can play around that. Obviously make them undispellable, but like I just don't think they're going to give him, hey, AoE 200% killers for 3 or 4 turns or something like that. I just don't think they're willing to do that, which is, to be fair, is a very, very strong ability, right? So, like, something unique like that, it just has to be unique. Like, powerful doesn't do it enough for me because this game power creeps too much all the time. So, like, with, like, Ella Spirits, I think what Ella Spirits does is pretty unique. And she has a bunch of fields. And then they gave her the Omni Weapon Imperial. And then they gave her the massive Imperial for Dart inside of Clash of Worlds, right? So, like, I would want to see, like, we know he has the Amp field, right? I would like to see something that's coming soon are 200% Elemental Imperials. I would like to see a 200% Water Imperial on. I think that would be a good way that he could fit with other units, while also, like, lasting longer, compared to the stuff that we're going to be getting. The problem is he's a water unit, and we know a lot of stuff that is coming on water unit, and a lot of it is strong. The 200 Imperial is already coming. So, like, if they don't give him one, that's already going to be coming.
See,
there's another 70% fielder coming. He has to do enough stuff that are unique.
Yeah.
The unit is cool. The sprite is great. It's like a top 5 sprite in the game. However, that's not a good enough reason for you to, like, pull for a unit if you're free to play. Like, he has to offer enough. Like, unless he's your favorite, pull for favorites always, right? But, like, if he doesn't offer something that's unique or that's, like, very strong, like, I value killers probably higher than almost everything in the game. If he has AoE killers and support kit, even if it's just 2, right? You give me, like, 2 one turn 200% killers, as long as it isn't, like, human and machine or something that's, like, everywhere, right? Like, give him stuff that'll make him use, because at that point, if his damage falls off, which is a big appeal for a lot of MP+ units, right? You can run him for the killers and the 70% field, because there isn't something higher than 70%. It will just be at matching it, right?
Sure.
So, like, we have to give him utility that isn't shared already among upcoming water units, because of how Ong's leader skill works, and we'll get to that in a minute, but, like, it matters a lot to my point. You're going to be bringing you're going to be bringing whatever strong water unit you want anyway, so he has to stand out, because otherwise you're like, I guess I can bring him for the leader skill and whatever random other thing his support can.
Sure. So we'll pin that for right now. What about you, YinToYang? What are you hoping to see Ong have for a support kit?
The biggest thing I'm hoping with the support kit is more utility compared to what The only unit that will max him right now in terms of the 30% amp field and the party-wide 300% stat buff and big LB damage buff is the upcoming Esper Ruin Rust unit. So what we need to see on Ong to make him stand out compared to the Esper Ruin units that'll be coming in the future is the best way I can put it is that he needs utility in his kit.
Okay.
He needs to be more varied than just a simple damage dealer, and I think having the support tag definitely saves him, because there's a good chance he'll have more than just a stat buff. Maybe he'll have party-wide amp.
Yeah.
Maybe a pure chance he'll be like some of the other upcoming dedicated buffers and have maybe the party-wide 100% elemental amp that he focuses on.
That could be nice.
Or since he has secondary damage in fire, maybe he could have a party-wide 80% amp for them.
That could be really cool. That could be very useful. So Sketch, you mentioned the rolling killers and how nobody has them. Are you forgetting about Lunar Festival Cleome, who has rolling amplified killers? One time, but she has them.
Yeah, like I did forget that. Like, but like yeah, there should be more stuff like that. Like I remember the amp, I didn't remember the killer part.
Yeah,
but like
I mean, there needs to be more of it, right? And it needs to not just be single use is the issue. The fact that it existed and was single use is the problem. So would be cool.
How high did hers get? I don't remember.
I want to say 160.
Sure. Like this needs to be at least this needs to be 200. Like but yeah, I forgot that. I was like, man, I knew there was like something that's like I remember seeing this. No, I can't remember who it was. Maybe they didn't do it. Like they need to do more stuff like that. It's just something unique like that, right? Yeah. Like they need to come up with something that makes him stand out, because the more and more I think about this, I'm like, man, there's a good chance that like I'm going to ticket Ong because I like Ong. There's a good chance, unless this kid is just crazy with what they gave him, that he's like a very easy skip.
Well, let's take a look at some other stuff that he's got before we go too far down easy skip or not. I hear where you're at, but so he also brings us some other things, right? So he brings us this ability, Clear Sun, boosts attack, defense, magic, spirit, and LB damage for all allies, and fills morale gauge. And then also his Vertex ability, which we'll talk about in a second. So how do you guys feel about this Clear Sun ability, which is kind of like, I kind of feel like it's like a diet version of arcane supplementation.
Pretty much exactly what it is. You
can use it more often, right? It's 5 turns instead of 10 turns, but it's also just a slightly not as good. But I think was it you, Sketch, who said it's basically Sylvie's Limit Burst?
It was me who said it was.
Yeah, I said it was her Limit Burst.
And also, it's verbatim what Esper Ruin Roost will have. It's a 5-turn cooldown, 400% staff buff, 300% LB damage buff for 5 turns.
With some morale boost as well. But that makes sense for
morale's like the only unique thing.
Yeah. Also has this Vertex ability. So Enduring Love 1 and 2 boosts your defense and spirit, and then Enduring Love 3 boosts water damage of LB's abilities magic for all allies 30%, and like other Vertex abilities, stacks on top of everything else. So that's a pretty big boost to damage that stacks on top of his field and his personal damage. Like that's pretty big.
Two things for him for like this page. One, they still give him arcane supplementation, because if they don't, I think, and they think the other is enough, I strongly disagree. Also, I'm scared when they showed this, because when you stack everything up, it is very, very good. But if they balance him around you having everything stacked up, when you don't have everything stacked up, he's going to be bad. And I'm scared that they're going to do that because of the fact that it exists in the kit, and you aren't having to get it from outside source. Something that's like very important to like look at with this stuff is it is dispellable, correct?
I think it doesn't say it's not. But you would use this. You would use this the turn before your. Oh, you're talking about the Clear Sun. Clear Sun probably is.
Yeah, the Clear Sun ability will be. If it is like Esper Ruin Russ's ability, it is dispellable.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm talking about for the enduring level.
Oh.
And the reason I even bring that up is because I know when you're going to use it, you're like it's going to be like right before you do stuff with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just me overthinking probably. But I'm just scared at some point we're just going to hit something where like the boss like counters with the spell or something like that, and you're like, oh. So I just like I like thinking about like every case scenario, and like it's a corner case scenario, right? But it just goes back to I'm scared about them balancing around this because it's very, very strong, right? So like he has a lot of like amps in his kit that all stack with each other, which is a really cool thing, right? Until like you have to have them if he's balanced that way. So like I hope he's not. I hope he's just like insane. That's what I want him to be. I want him to be very, very good. I want to be able to pull for him. He has like one of the best story events in the game. He's a very good nostalgic character for me. Like I will pull for him even though I don't like water that much. But like, or at least 2 tickets for him.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just scared with the way that he's set up. In my head, it's like, so they're balancing it around you having everything. And until he finally gets everything set up, it's just there.
Well, and remember too that Vertex
true.
ability is not going to exist outside of Clash of Wills. So like for Dark Visions, you're still sitting at whatever somebody's personal amp is plus his 70% field. So it's not a perfect scenario for everything. It's just for Clash of Wills, but it's I think pretty cool. I think it's way better than like Mireille's and way better than Esther's, and better
Esther
than
doesn't have one.
Esther has. You liar! She does. I used it last month and I got ranked one.
No. It doesn't have one.
No, I know.
It's
I know.
just
It's
you use an ability and nothing happens.
It's a thing. The new one that we're gonna get, and we're gonna talk about that in a second too, is better than Esther's, which is funny because Esther's gonna have both. So
thank goodness.
Yeah, I know. So let's take a look at that. This other thing. So this leader skill, we have finally gotten away from the monthly Clash unit, not just having like the generic Clash of Wills leader skill. So we're looking at outside of Clash, attack and magic 500%, defense and spirit 200 for Clash and water. And then inside Clash, 1,000 attack and magic, 750 defense and spirit for Clash and water in Clash of Wills. I saw that. I was pretty glad about it. I think you guys were all on the same page.
Oh, absolutely. This will be really good going forward, especially if your Clash of Will unit moves this into different categories.
Mm-hmm.
Just keeping the general Clash of Wills category is better than being like either dedicated Clash of Will element or Clash of Will support.
Yeah.
And just going with the broad stroke of just the general element category. So yes, the water category is nice.
Oh, that's a good point. It's not Clash of Wills water. It's just water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because it helps,
I didn't even think about that.
It helps now because the focus gauge implementation.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we bring any of the focus units in, they'll benefit from morale-based leader skill.
Cool. Very cool. So all in all, then it sounds like we're pretty glad with this. But we won't.
This is.
Yeah, won't hang too long here. Let's take a look at Ong's gear. A 220 attack, two-handed bow, boosts attack by 1,000 for Ong, and then 100% killers for birds, and 100% true double hand. As far as bird killer items go, that's pretty good.
Sure.
I mean, all bows have
All bows and
killer
throwing have
on
bird
them.
killer. Yeah, it's true.
That's not what we're talking about on this picture, though.
No, we're not. I love this
No.
Not
TMR.
at
This
all.
TMR is so cool.
It's really
Mhm.
quite solid.
I mean, the
Like,
attack on it is whatever, right? But the LB damage and all those killers, like I want as many copies of this as I can get units or copies of Ong.
Hmm.
And like, it's got two of what I would feel are some of the harder killers to get.
Mhm.
Fairy and bird killer are very common.
Yep. And I mean, this lines up perfectly for the Clash of Wills. This is basically like, I feel like this is in the same vein as like Richt's TMR. Like, you know, it's an accessory that gives you all those killers that you wanted for that particular Clash of Wills and has good stats on it. This is very all around pretty good.
Hmm.
It's a very good materia for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is a top 5 TMR in the game. I
Hmm.
don't think that's not even debatable, I think.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I'm a little upset with Barry and YinToYang because you guys didn't point out like the coolest part about this TMR is it's called True Sharpshooter, and Ong's old STMR was called Sharpshooter.
Sure was.
Oh.
Well, his old
TMR.
TMR was Sunbreaker, and now his STMR is True Sunbreaker. So,
Yeah.
oh, don't worry. These are not things lost on me.
The
Like,
Yeah,
so
we are
like,
going-
orgasm
that
is
is
strong with you. Is that what you're saying?
is like this
At
is
least with this one.
really cool.
FF to the
Like-
lower.
I'm glad this guy is not premium because of, like it just being easier to pull. Because that TMR is one of those things that every single account in the entire game, whether you're a free to play or a whale, will want. And there needs to be more things like that in the game. Now he is limited. That kind of sucks. I wish he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd actually think I'd rather him be premium and limited. But you can pull him off banner because there's so many uses for this TMR,
Oh,
and I want like 4 or 5 of it, and I'm gonna get like one. If I'm lucky, I'm going to get.
In before the comments, right? What if I don't have True Sharpshooter? And the reality is like nothing does this collection of 5 things in one materia slot in the entire game. So that's why we're saying at least one copy of this. You know, you want more copies if you can get your hands on it.
So good.
Pretty cool.
Like they knocked it out of the park. See, they need to do some more stuff like this on limited units.
Mhm.
If you're gonna make them limited anyway, like push the TMRs as hard as you possibly
Yes,
can,
I
because that
agree.
will make people cool. And like you're gonna give people FOMO, and they're gonna go, I can't afford to miss out on the TMR because it's best in slot for a ton of situations. And you know what? It is.
At least
Go
tickets.
pull if you want to.
You know, at least
Yeah,
tickets.
no, I mean,
Yeah,
like,
like,
yeah,
we can-
that's what I'm saying.
Here's the
Like,
vision
we
card.
Can still look at a few older limited time Neovisions that still have great TMR or STMR
Mhm.
potential. Like even old school, like with Lunar New Year coming up, we'll probably have Divine Beast Cow on the back, and that STMR is still a welcome addition for anyone with
Absolutely.
the 100% LB and the 70% Spirit for just the added defense for your unit.
Yeah, solid. So this vision card is level 10, so we know that he's not premium because the vision card goes up to level 10. Attack and defense 130, kind of whatever, right? But then these abilities, so 100% attack and 100% LB damage. Dragon, Fairy, and Bird Killer, physical only, note physical only at 100%, and attack and defense 500 for FFBE only. I think these are solid abilities on a subpar card.
Very
Agreed.
solid card.
I don't know why we're still fiddling with 130,
Mm-hmm.
especially on a
Here's the
limited
thing,
card.
Yeah, like I think even just going up to 140 or 145 would have just made it slightly more standard, if that makes sense.
Yeah, more desirable for sure. So
I can
Barry,
understand making the stats lower just to slightly compensate for these really good assets. But still,
Yeah,
I think maybe we should have gone a bit higher.
a little higher.
So I'm willing to argue that this card's good, and I'm willing to like take debate from people on it. So my argument is, I would rather this than most standard cards they've revealed, like released ever, because it has 3 killers and 2 of them are rare.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're doing things like Vision World, which everybody can rank one, or some Dark Visions and some Clash of Wills depending, if 2 of those 3 killers line up, I will take the stats hit a lot of the times because I don't have enough stuff to gear 5 or 6 DPS, right? Depending on the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just don't, right? Some people do, and then the value of this card's in the toilet, right?
Oh no, I
But
think,
for like
I think that it's
the average
good.
person or like lower end people, like for the average person or lower end people, I think cards like this are very good as long as the killers aren't very common things, right? Like if this was like Human Dragon X, that'd be like okay, whatever. We have Infinitus, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But there's 2 killers on there that are kind of rare. So like, is it going to be your best card at all times? No. Are there going to be occasions where you do want this and you're going to be upset you don't have it because it makes hearing not a nightmare? Yes.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So like, this is one of those things. Like the first copy of it's actually probably pretty valuable. Like just to have. Is this something you want multiple of? No.
Well,
No,
I
not
think
really.
I think even just the level 4 ability for a lot of players is very, very valuable. Not every player is going to care about that, but you know, when you're first starting out and you don't have cards that have 100 LB on them, and then you're going to be able to get this off of a, you know, hopefully relatively easy to get unit. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So Barry, you were saying when they unveiled all their artwork in their social media posts this week that there was one unit who was notably missing from all those. And now we have this vision card for him, which is kind of, you know, whatever. And you said you kind of thought maybe they were going to put out a special vision card just for him that we just didn't get to see in the live stream today.
Oh yeah, I would be so shockingly surprised if not. If for no other reason than obviously they have to leech more lapis out of people.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen. I want to think about that before I say it out loud. I feel like it's been a while since we've had a Clash of Wills unit not come out with a card.
It has been. So the first one that they started doing that with recently was Chow. But what was interesting about that is they also showed Chow's vision card and Hyo's vision card on the live stream.
That's true.
They didn't show Barrel's, but Barrel's wasn't
They
like unique to Barrel. It was just like,
That's
you
true.
know, here's Barrel. And the same
They didn't
thing,
show Marae's either, did they?
no, they showed it on Thursday or on Tuesday morning. They showed us that we were getting one, but but it was not unique to Mirai. So I'm kind of wondering, like, will they release a special card that has Ong on it, but it maybe won't be for Ong? Maybe it will be though. Who knows?
I mean, it's hard to
I
say.
feel like it, for sure, and I feel like it'll be more along the lines of like Mirai's as well. It might be a ramping killer based one. It won't be like a Yo card, which was gave Yo or Frostlord
A best in slot
a
card.
dedicated a best in slot card for them.
I mean, hey, give me a
Although
150 to 170 flat ramping fairy killer card, and I promise I might go 2 full laps.
There you go. There you go.
yeah,
He has to have a card, right?
So
Oh yeah.
He has to. There's no way.
Got to be.
They
some
wouldn't
kind of
have
card
made
in the banner.
art for every other Lunar New Year unit and not do an on card.
Hey, they didn't have Foo on any of those cards.
See, I did notice that. You're right.
Yeah.
I feel like we forget about Fu,
We do.
which is
Well,
a sad
Some
time.
of us do. Some of us do.
So now
I
question
don't.
is,
Let's
Oh.
hear it.
not to be negative. Sorry, not to be. The question is, with how they've been doing banners recently,
Mhm.
are they gonna have Ong on one banner and they're gonna do a card step up on another banner with old units on it, without Ong on it?
No.
I don't think they'll put without Ong on it because they had Marae still on her card banner. I feel like this one banner was just bad, and I'm sure they realized that that was a terrible decision. I can't imagine anyone pulled on it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't even know
Yeah.
who's on the card.
I can't remember.
Which,
I didn't pull for it, so I can't remember.
It looks like a water guy with spear. I have no
Oh.
idea who that is.
That is.
Was it Bewitching Yik?
It might have been.
it's time to open up the app and go with.
But
You
Yish
go
is
do that.
Ice.
You do that while we move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I'm loading the app right now.
So they mentioned some water units you might want to use with
Yeah, no.
with this unit, and they said Dragon Lord Roos and Summoner / Evoker and Metza. Honestly,
We know what this really means.
of these three, Metza is the one that is probably the best use of them all. But you know, I think it's funny that they mentioned how good Dragon Lord Roos's leader skill is.
I know.
When like inside Clash, like Ong's is so much better. But outside of Clash, Roos's is technically better.
Those units are good. It's
And-
just like
And also the mistake of mentioning Summoner's standard form
Mm-hmm.
is Evoker, when really that is the Brave Fist form of the unit that only has the water tag.
Right. Now I actually don't have Metza or Summoner, so I would not be upset to be if Metza and Summoner were on like the Allied Forces thing that they usually do with these units. That'd be kind of cool. I have Roos, but only at EX1, so I mean, yeah, I don't know. Be kind of cool.
you might get Evoker. Metza won't be on there, but you
No,
might get Evoker.
Metza won't be, yeah, but like, you know, Evoker would be really cool.
I feel like they've had Evoker on 3 banners recently, though.
I can't remember.
Oh,
Stop
Oh,
trying to
right.
make Evoker
I tell you-
happen.
I tell you
It's
who
not
I
gonna
don't
happen.
want there to be on the Allied Forces banner though is Irvin
Summerfina.
and Laguna and Summerfina and Songstress Yuna, because that was on the Chow banner and I got Irvined to death. So
Same.
please no more Irvins. Actually, I do need one more. Maybe one more Irvin.
Oh, don't say that, because now he's on the banner.
No!
Sure, you jinxed it.
I'm ruining it for
quick,
everybody.
knock on wood.
Quick.
Quick, knock on wood.
I got it.
And
Wait.
Segueing
You know who would be
back,
cool to be on banner?
segueing back.
Go ahead.
Okay, segueing back to the Mirai
Mm,
card
yes.
banner, it was Esther, Hio, and Frostlord.
That's right.
with
That's
Mirai.
right. So
And that's why I'm now 1 Hio away from a second card.
so disgusting.
Yeah, no.
Sketch, what were you gonna say? Who would be cool to put on there?
Yeah. Avalanche Tifa.
Stop.
Because
I don't
No,
want her, but
because,
other
like-
players might want her. You know.
no, because like she's supposed to be the first MV plus, right? So that would let people get copies, and a lot of players won't have EX3 ready, and that would be a very big good thing for the account for people to have access to that in the pool.
Yeah.
So that would just be like, I'm one off myself, so like it's not the most exciting thing for me ever, but I just think as a community, for like a lot of people won't have EX3 for her just because like that's just how the game works,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you haven't been playing that long. It's like probably one of the best units people could be hoping for to be on that banner.
That I agree
Yeah.
for the general purpose player who has not been playing that long. I would agree with you, but I hope not.
No, Avalanche
Also-
Tifa, Star Player Tidus,
Mhm.
Fabled Guardian Jekt. There you
Oh,
go.
I've got EX3 of all
Let
three
me-
of them.
I'm
Oh, you make me
also
really not want to
gonna-
pool. I hate Tin.
Yeah.
I'm gonna segue in here as well with not wanting Avalanche Tifa, just because if we're following the Japanese calendar at all, we're supposed to get a free copy
Mm-hmm.
of Avalanche Tifa all the way to EX3 to NV plus her.
Free copy.
Free.
What a
I
guy.
just assumed we're not getting that when I made my comment, but I wasn't gonna say anything.
Okay, so I'm gonna take a little.
No, I know.
I'm gonna take a moment here, and I want to throw this out here before we go to the next slide. That you guys all, I'm not gonna say whose comments were whose, but all three of you participated in my video that I did about a month ago, where I got community feedback about Clash of Wills Advanced, or Clash of Wills Another. And you all shared, and I read your comments out loud. Some of them were more hilarious than others. And so I really appreciate that. And now you're all here as we talk about this next slide, which is the changes that they announced coming for Clash of Wills Another. They are increasing the chance time from 1 turn to 3 turns. They are increasing the number of categories for which focus abilities are enabled, and they are increasing the amount gained from focus regular from 900 to 1200 per turn. And then basically every unit who has the Clash of Wills category is getting a vertex ability, which we'll see on the next slide. So all three of you...
So they just undid their own mode.
They did. They really did. So that's my next question is like, is this too much? Is this just right? Does this address the real problems that we all had? Like, before I say my piece, what do you guys think about that?
I think they went too far in the opposite direction. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'm basically with you. I'm with you on that, Mary. They went too far. Like, honestly, I feel 2 of the 3 changes are fine. The chance time extension is good because for newer players, it's hard to try and kill a boss in 1 turn.
Mm-hmm.
And so extending it to 3 turns does give more players a chance to get that 5,000 bonus.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. The increase in focus was also definitely needed because, like, again, the big problem with the last Clash of Wills Another is that Focus Plus was completely limited to any of the new banner units only. And it still is, which is still a negative in my opinion, but at least I'm happy they're expanding the focus energy option into more units and giving it a higher amount, which means it'll be a lot faster to get 3 gen needed. However, I am completely disappointed with the vertex field when we get to that later.
Yeah. So I feel like they put a lot of time and effort into creating and showing us this new system. And it seemed really intended to drive sales, and it seemed really intended to push us to pull for every kind of unit rather than just Clash of Wills units, which I think is both good and bad. But I feel like that was their intention. And I feel like all that effort was put into, and it ended up creating a bunch of problems that then they have now solved the problems that they created, which they're like super good at, right? They create issues and then they like undo all their effort. But like, I feel like this is just too much of it. Like you said, I think if you did 2 or 3 of these, if you did like chance time and vertex abilities, that would be great. Because honestly, once they changed the way the last Clash of Wills worked, where it wasn't quite so abusive during Mania mode, you could get by with lasting 3 or 4 turns in Mania mode and just use regular focus instead of focus energy plus, and that was okay. Opened up a lot of options for teams. But doing all 3 of them, it basically invalidates it, like the whole system. And you'll see what I mean when we get to the slide that shows the actual focus units. So here's the general purpose focus ability or vertex ability that all Clash of Wills category units are getting. Defense spirit buffs, and that's basically it. So like, it's basically, I mean, it's better than Esther's, right? But like, it's not helping you offensively unless you're bringing Elena and Lilith as your damage dealers. And probably not for this particular Clash of Wills. But there you go. So yeah.
It's kind of a mess.
It's a mess for sure. Like,
I will say,
here's the thing, like, go ahead.
I'm really, really glad that they took players' feedback seriously. Whether you're talking about people who are putting videos out or sending support tickets or feedback on social media, they clearly took the feedback seriously. I just feel like they like knee jerk to the other direction, like way too much. Between the nerfing that happened, and I love that Tony said nerf on the stream.
Yes, he did.
It was hilarious. Between the nerf and this, I don't know. I want to see it do well. I love Clash of Wills, and I want to see it do well. It seems like too much. Yin, what were you gonna say?
So my main thing I was gonna say is like I agree. I'm glad they took our feedback very well, but like you said, they knee-jerked it too much in the other direction. And I feel like this happens a lot with them when they try to implement new changes for us into really wanting to make global a different games. Oh god, I hate that I just said that.
Oh, you did. You're a meme.
Yep.
You're a meme unto yourself.
Well, I mean, my profile pictures have been memes for quite a while now, so might as well embrace that I am a meme lord.
Embrace it. I love it. I love it. Sketch, what do you think about this?
Like, so they overdid it for sure, right? But it's a really, 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 really cannot emphasize this enough. Really weird situation because it's really cool that they're trying new things. Because they had to do something to shake up so like people aren't like bored of just doing the same thing in and out, right? Was the first version bad? Sure. Are the first versions bad on most new features in games? Yeah. Like people just need to give it time. And like, was I all excited about how like the first one worked? No. Was it a lot of fun with how it worked? Not really. This is somebody that had Murray, by the way. Like I got one copy. But I think like before knee-jerking, this is not gonna be popular opinion, sorry. I think before knee-jerking, we should have tried a couple of light adjustments first and see how the community reacted to it, and then just adjust from there, touch base from there. It's like if you overdo it like this, yes, you are going to make some amount of people happy. Right.
See,
But the problem is these things take forever to design. And like the global team obviously spent a lot of time on this. Like, as somebody who has friends that are in programming, this is not a small task. Whether you like hearing that or not, it's just not. Like when you add a full system into gaming and stuff like that, it doesn't matter if it's just for one version of a phone game. It is a lot of work, right? Like these are people that you have to like pay a large amount of money to. Programmers are not cheap to pay. That are working really hard working on systems and stuff like that. Is it going to work for everybody? No. But I think they could have just like nerfed it steadily over time and then find like a good balance of it instead of overdoing it. Because I think, yes, this is going to be easier and people are going to be able to use it and enjoy it more. Sure. But for what your intentions were, or how the system was going to work, or adding it as a new system, it basically didn't add anything, which just ended up a waste of time and like probably a waste of resources in my opinion. Like one thing that we didn't touch on earlier really about On is there wasn't a story of it. And I feel like maybe I'm wrong. One of the reasons we aren't getting extra stuff like that is because they're working on systems like this. So every time they have to backpedal on systems because something is overtuned or bugged or something like that, it means less cool things that the community enjoys that we could get, right? Like, it probably means this took away time from maybe getting a serious boss battle. This may have taken time away from us getting an ONG's story event. This may have taken time away from us getting NVAs for global exclusive units at some point, right? Because these things do take time. Like, I know they use that, or it sounds like they're using that as an excuse to just not do things. But, like, these things do take a lot of time. And, like, if this is their focus, cool, that's their focus. This is where they make money. Clash of Wills is the most popular game mode, etc. Right? It's just when you backpedal this hard on this type of thing, what did you gain out of the amount of time that you put into it as a company? Right? Are you scared to try new things again because of how it was like taken, and because you overtook it so much? People may also adjust to every time that we don't like something even a little bit, we're just going to rage at people until it's completely destroyed. And we don't need to be in that position either, because once we get it, once everything just becomes Reddit, and it's just like, all right, this is cool, but we're doing the exact same thing, and people will get bored and move on, right? And that's not what we want. Like, we all enjoy playing FFBE here, so like, not to be overly negative, like we all enjoy playing the game, or we all of us been playing for years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like some of us have been playing since like, I don't know, close to day one. But it's just, it's a really cool idea. I like it. I think like you can do things to make profits. Like I think you could have a rotating list of units that you have to use this month, or something from this list, or or maybe like units that came out over this month, or something like that, and stuff like that is totally fine. However, I think in that you should also, like, a way that like you could have fixed this, and yes, it would have required some work, but it's another way that you could have done it to, like, out on this hill, is if there were more MBAs, right? You could give the MBAs for this specific Clash of Wills that ability, right? People would have the star requirements to bring them into Clash of Wills.
Mm-hmm.
And while they will be weaker, like, there were people... Esther doesn't offer anything to the Clash of Wills. It'd be the same thing as bringing Esther, right? She couldn't live. She wasn't strong enough to, like, live through stuff realistically. You needed a magic tank and she's a physical tank. Yeah, you use her Omni cover. She's gonna die most of the time.
Well, once
like,
they fixed that, that wasn't an issue anymore, but I hear you.
Yeah, so, like, I mean, I'm just thinking from, like, day one, right? Like, so, like, if they had, like... If we had more, like, MBAs, so, like, for example... we got Clash of Wills during Christmas, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you told me that, like, all right, so for this event, NBA Crayola has a vertex ability, as an example, right? And like, Crayola has breaks, right? Is she insane or anything like that? No, but like, it would allow people to have access to it while not just like completely going overboard. And once you have limitations and stuff like that, I think limitations are fine. I think, like, and that's, again, not a popular opinion, I think limitations are fine as long as they aren't locked behind you spending a bunch of money. If you're telling me that, like, hey, these two categories have this ability this month, or this category, like the entire category has the ability this month, yeah, cool. You can find something on that category. Like, for example, if they did Gathering this month, you could find a Gathering unit that you want to take, right? Now, is your party going to be optimized and Essence Lodge? No, but that option already exists, right? Because we're still getting new units. If you're somebody that cares about that kind of stuff, you could also just pull for the new unit. Like, there's a lot of different ways they could have done this.
Yeah.
It's just backpedaling
like,
just hurts time consumption.
The one thing that is just being left out entirely, and really my biggest, I guess really not my biggest, but one of my bigger issues with the extreme nature that they handled this, they also took away all incentive of rank 1. You know, so now between ranks 1 and 1,000 is the same reward, and so by that metric, who cares if you rank 1 anymore? If you're in the top 1,000 players and that's something that you're going for, then by all means, like, make it a little more difficult if you need to in certain circumstances. I appreciate the accessibility and the fact that it is and has always been a shared rank 1, except for that one quarter. But this is, I don't know, it's too far in the other direction.
Yeah.
They've invalidated all of their efforts. There's not really much more that needs to be said. I guess we'll see. I imagine this one will be broken too, because the second one is always broken in every quarter, so we'll see how it plays out.
And I don't want to sound like I'm, like, not glad that they did something. Like, I'm really glad that they did something. I'm really glad that they took community feedback. I think that that Clash of Wills needs to not just be for whales. I think that Clash of Wills needs to be accessible for the large player base. Otherwise, people are not going to want to have fun with it. Like, they already can't have fun in Dark Visions without spending money. Clash of Wills, I feel like, should reward players for playing creatively by giving them, you know, measured, targetable, achievable results or goals to try and hit. That, like, through being clever, you can work at it.
And that is what Clash of Wills has always been. It's been the beauty of creativity in the community, of using whatever unit they have available to achieve the best possible results to either earn rank 1 or the closest result.
Yeah.
rank 1 within it. What was the problem with the first Clash of Wills Another with the Ninja is that it turned the DB instantly
Mhm.
by forcing us to need Noctis,
Yep.
Prompto, and Mireille alone just to have it strangleholded us into a very tightly formed
Right.
team.
It took away it took away all the saving and all the unit collecting you've been doing for 2 years. Basically went away because you could only there were only 3 party slots you had to work with, and one of those needed to be a tank. So really, we're talking about 2 party slots that you could work with, and it was just too much, too restrictive. So I don't want to say it was too much, but I feel like what they did, just like you said, Barry, invalidated their effort, and we'll see that in just a minute. So before Sketch, go.
Sure.
Yeah.
The issue with like a lot of the complaints though that I had was in other games, and I think it's fair to compare them. Rank 1's not a thing that you can really achieve. Like people being upset that they can't follow a guide for an easy rank 1, like not the company's problem. Like, and like you can get upset if you want. Like a lot of people in the community are just spoiled because they can just follow a guide and not know how to play the game. It's the same people that complain we don't have content a lot of the time. Like, yes, because you don't play anything on your own. You just watch videos, copy them verbatim, and then move on. And you're like, well, I don't have anything to do. It's like, yeah, because if you were spending time on it yourself, like, you would have plenty to do.
Yeah.
Rank 1 in Clash of Wills not mattering is like probably a good thing. And again, that's not going to be a popular opinion, but like the 1-to-1K thing. Like I feel like this needs to be discussed. Like the 1-to-1K thing. Basically, if it matters less, I think it should like enable people to want to try different things because it matters less, right? You're less like I have to have the specific view because this is what example sins are used in this video, or used in this video for his rank 1, or what. It doesn't really matter who it is, right? Like you could be a little bit more creative with your parties because you're like, so let me see if I can get the top 1K, which is a lot easier in rank 1, right? Let me see if I can get to the top 1K, the party that I like, right? And then like that's a cooler achievement because it doesn't matter if I can't get rank 1 because all the rewards are the same.
Yeah.
Like I think that's like a very good change. Unfortunately, it came at the same time as a bunch of things that weren't a good change, which like just kind of makes the whole thing a mess. But I think that part was like completely on point. With like because you know that weren't going to be like rank 1 class gets 10k lapis, 20k lapis. They're not going to do that. They've never done that, right? So like because of how the reward system works in Clash of Wills, I think changing it was like extremely good thing because like people should be able to have more fun because then at that point, if you're not having fun testing things, that's on you because it doesn't matter.
I agree. I just feel like what they did to try and force the new system just ended up cutting the available number of units people could use to be creative in like down to like 1/8.
Oh yeah, that's the bad
the whole
part,
purpose.
Right?
Like it just yeah.
That's definitely that is the bad part. That is the bad part we all universally agreed on as a community, that we were stranglehold into this fourth party we had to use.
Which they have now addressed.
A high enough rank. For sure.
So we will take a look at that in just 1 second. So here is our new boss. The Helion, the Hellion, the Dragon, Fairy, Avian, Water, Wind, Ice, and Light weaknesses. And I can't help but notice that this looks a little familiar to this sprite from the very first season of the game, which looks like that, just with different wings without a star on its chest. What do you guys think about that? So, Clash of Wills, Season 1 sprite.
The Clash of Wills boss sprites have routinely been the best part
Mm-hmm.
of Clash of Wills, and this is just an absolute mockery. I've
Oh,
not been
absolutely.
so upset about a sprite in ever.
Now we know this is
This
probably Echelon 1, right? But
great
still,
purple
like,
flames, awesome.
yeah.
Don't care. The issue I'm having here with the Clash of Wills boss art is that, yes, we have used reskins before. The
Mhm.
very first Clash of Wills was a reskin of Morgana. We had a reskin of was the fan design
Mhm.
boss unit.
Mhm.
We even in more recent terms, fighting Ethne for
Mhm.
the Clash of Wills was technically a reskin as well.
Mhm.
Just an alternate universe take on her.
Yeah.
This, however, is a standard monster we have fought time and time again,
Right.
whether in story scenarios or the enhancement.
Yeah, you fight this
Weapon
dragon in the
enhancement.
item enhancement every week.
You fight this dragon in the item world regularly. Me as an artist, not even just as an artist, as really close friend with a lot of artists. This is just like an outright slap face to all of them. Like, I don't know how many artists have worked on the boss sprite Clash of Wills, but all of them have universally been amazing in design, and like kudos to these artists, whoever they are.
Mhm.
And I wish, and I'm hoping this is just like a weird blip in
Yeah.
the season. Like,
It just
this
looks
is
really washed out and like fuzzy and
it's lazy. It's outright lazy. Like,
Yeah.
literally all it is a palette swap. They've put out the original dragon wings and given a pair of avian or fairy wings of some kind, which I'm almost positive is another cut from a different monster we fought. I just can't put a name to it right now or an image to it, and just drew a little sigil on the chest, like a poorly made sigil at that.
So, problem though
Oh.
is this boss was really cool the first time we saw it years ago.
Mhm.
That was years ago.
Yeah.
And we're just it's reoccurred the whole time. Why is this a flashback?
Yeah, I don't know. So, enough about the sprite. It uses water, wind, light, and non-elemental physical attacks and hybrid attacks and inflicts blind on you. And then it uses skills that you need to counter with specific elements to make sure that you don't get a counter yourself. And then they recommend that you can bring Ong or Magic Marksman Phasalis that are super effective against Helion. So probably a physical tank again is what it sounds like. And you need to pay attention because it's going to play a little Simon Says with you. Yeah. There you go. They mentioned that Mania mode is making some changes, right? So this is going to kind of have similar to last month's, like reduced. It's still going to get buffed, but it's going to be way less than it was the very first time we saw it. Mania mode gives us vertex and focus abilities, and blah 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 blah. We know that has not changed. But then this boss's the specific change they did point out is that once you use the focus gems, bonus time is activated for 3 turns. So the break that occurs as a result of you using your vertex is for 3 turns now instead of just 1 turn, which I think is a good change. Beyond that, they took a weird detour and they showed us this screen. So who was expecting them to bring up a collab in the middle of the Lunar New Year stream? I was not.
Nope.
Oh,
No, that was not on my bingo card.
Yeah. Why does this matter? Sketch, why does this matter?
okay. So, you are looking at JP timing. This is the correct timing for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But, it fits with the theme, right? This water unit.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be doing water, and another month of water, into, like, possibly another half a month of water after that, like, without, like, being excessive, like, it's just more water units. This collab was due for time. This collab was made to go along with the anniversary units that are coming.
Right.
You're going to have your choice of water units. Water is the meta for a very long time. Obviously, this can change on global, but it would be really hard with the amount of water units that are all coming out at the same time repeatedly, which is why they made Ong, which adds another water unit onto it. Al actually fits on the team quite well. So if you have Chow from Halloween, they've been setting this up for a while. The units themselves are fine. They did mention that they're gonna have was it focus or vortex abilities?
Focus. So they are included in the list of focus units. These are the ones who are going to get focus plus. Is Noctis and Setzer. I called it. Setzer has it. I called it. And Physalis, and then of course Randy, Prim, and Papoy. But then the thing that bugs me, and this is where I feel like they swung way too far. Right? Look at the ones that get regular focused energy. Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 tactics, type 0, and FFBE season 1, 2, 3, 4, and anniversary, and another world, and rewards units. Like, so basically everybody except for generic FFBE and Clash of Wills gets focus abilities. So you can bring whatever you want. If you can cram it together to get an EX16 team, somebody's gonna have a focus ability.
Fun.
Yeah.
That's such a fun thing they did.
It's just the
I'm
opposite.
super excited for how fun it is.
It's like you either have 3 units that do it, or now every unit in the game. It's just there's no middle ground, right?
So excited that this season, these next few months, we're going to be wet with water unit.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel like this is just too much. But anyways,
It's staying true
bring
to
a
form
unit.
that the Focus Plus is strictly going to be whatever the banner units have been.
Yeah, the most recent.
Although,
that's going to be just like it was like last month, right? So like obviously the best choices are going to be like Metza, and obviously Ong and things like that. But like, Ong's not going to have focus, but you've got options now.
I had a cool idea, or I just had a cool idea that would go with this. What if they're not doing this? But like, if you're listening, this is something you can do. We have a cupcake Clash of Wills every quarter, right?
It was supposed to be last month.
So like, yeah. So like, if we have, so the first Clash of Wills, do it like this. Second Clash of Wills, half the number of Final Fantasies that have focus abilities. Third Clash of Wills, even further down, and be like, all right, for this one, these were the units that came out in the last 3 months. You have to use one of those sets. So like, let's say we got 12, 4, and 6 over those course of those months. All right, cool. You have to use a 12, 4, or 6 unit if you want to use a generic unit that's not one of these specialty units. And that's something you can make the super easy one. You can use the squad category. That one's good. That one's for everybody. And they start getting harder down with like a more focused group as you go through the Clash of Wills season, because they're going to get harder anyway. So just make it to where you can have smaller amounts, and then it'll be different ones every time, right? Because they don't do stuff all the time. So like, you can have a Clash of Wills that's like, you have to be FF2, FF5, FF8, or enhanced focus ability unit.
Not like, FF2. don't do FF2. That's bad.
But no, I mean it would be when they make a new FF2 unit.
No,
right?
I got you. When they make a new one,
yeah.
yes, a new one.
Yeah,
I don't want to be bringing Emperor to this fight. Thank you.
I mean, Emperor is better than some of the options last month. Um. Anyways,
Hey, I know of at least one person who brought Nyx to do Focus Plus and got rank 1, so
hell yeah.
it's awesome. So there's that.
That's you.
Now we are also getting for the next 6 weeks, or the next month, weekly summons once per week. So 10 rainbows or 10 neos with some TMR Moogles, which is nice. We're also getting Lunar New Year login with some lapis and some tickets and stuff like that. And then they said gifts for the live stream, you know, pretty standard gifts for us. The last thing they mentioned was this community challenge, which I think is great. You know, community challenges are fun. We had the snowball fight that we started a couple months ago, and now we've got an FFBE sponsored community challenge, which I think is really cool. They want us to upload videos of us beating the boss during chance time, and some players are going to receive bonus stuff. But all players who submit a video get 500 lapis. So do it. You know, I think it's cool.
Why not?
Why not? You know, post a video of you doing it. I think they said they're going to be starting like a post where they want you to like to drop your video on it. So, you know, I think what I think is cool about this is hypothetically, right? What if you like go check out their page and you're like, oh, how did so-and-so do it? And like, then you can see like, oh, they did it with these units. I have those units. Maybe now I'm getting inspired to go do it like my own way or make some changes or something like that. And like, there's a lot more variety than like everybody using the same party, you know? Hopefully, maybe.
Hopefully, maybe.
But I think engaging the community in this way is really cool. So yay, I'm actually a big fan of this.
Yeah, it's great.
And
It's
that
nice
was
to see a form of engagement again, for sure.
I mean, this is more interesting than the like missions from Reagan, you know, where it was like bring a 4-star unit to anything. It was like bring a 4-star unit to something and beat a boss.
Oh
you know?
yeah.
Like, this will be slightly more interesting, right? So and believe it or not, that was it. So we got their live stream lasted about 28 minutes, and we got all the way through it. So now we're all the way through their stuff. We did it.
Yeah.
I can't believe how short that live stream was, and
It was super short.
It was.
Like,
28 minutes is, I think, a record for them.
Yeah, it was super short, and like, which is weird because there was like a decent amount of information, right? It just, I wonder. I think there's like some things they could have done to like space it out some. Like, maybe this is just like a fanboy reasoning, but I wish they would have talked about the collab more. Normally they have like a couple more slides on collabs more than, hey, this is coming.
Yeah.
So like that feels like it's kind of rushed, but to be fair, like it is like Chinese New Year stuff going on.
2 weeks away,
and
yeah.
Yeah, like basically, it may not be a huge deal for those two personally, right? It could easily be for people that are on staff. So that'd be like, it's a very big deal, like very respectful to them. So like it kind of felt a little rushed to me. It's not like a terrible rush where it's just like, wait, this wasn't explained well or anything. It's just like it would have been cool if they talked more about it.
Yeah, it just went
like,
fast.
For
like,
me,
even just
personally,
like even just an honorable mention of like, here comes the mana collab with a whatever the event's supposed to be with the mana collab.
Yeah, is it a
whether it's,
farming event?
a
Are there
raid,
bonus
or
stages? Or do we get gear?
is it a raid?
Yeah.
Like, just a few mentions of those would have been nice to hear.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, like there's a lot of stuff that comes with that collab. Like most collabs, right? Most of them aren't like completely dead with nothing, right? There might have even been a Vision World. I really don't know. I can't remember. Don't quote me on that. I would have to check. But
like when we did the Parasite Eve collab, they showed us like what Aya's gun was gonna be, and that's what they showed us like some of the gear that you got during the event, and yeah, I don't know.
It's just weird that they did it this way. Like, I hope, like, my number one like takeaway from all the collab stuff is, I want to care about this collab because I like those games, and I don't care about water. Like, water is not like an element that I like in FFBE. I don't like the units that are on water, etc. Right? Like, it's just not my favorite. I like Ong. Right? I don't like Ong as much as Barry, but like I like Ong.
Nobody likes Ong
And-
as much as Barry.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Like I like Ong. Ong's cool. I'm likely to throw tickets at Ong. Whether he's good or bad, I am likely to throw tickets at Ong just because he's a very big nostalgic unit to me,
Mhm.
right? If I was lucky and got a Mets from the video summons, right? I think that's pretty good at what he does, right?
Mhm.
He's not OP or anything like that, but he's just a good water breaker, right? And he has field. It's in field that doesn't clash with Ong's field. That's already cool. Now, Randy is also water. If they are willing to buff Randy, right? Now I might actually care about water,
Mm.
right? Because now I'm like, I have 3 good water units. Like, technically 4. I have Chow. He's not very high EX level, but like I have him. It's just like, well, maybe I should be looking at water, and we have a bunch of water coming. So like, if you were somebody like me, that would be a good way to get them more interested in the upcoming water unit. Would be to buff a collab that's very popular, right?
Right.
Like mana collabs always do very well. Whether the units are meta or not, they're normally not. But like, it would be really cool if like nothing insane. I don't want like triple or double, like over double what we have right now, or anything like that. But if they gave him some buffs, and we know they're buffing them to some extent, because if they have the focus ability, I'm willing to bet they all have the Clash of Wheels tag.
Mm.
So like, that's a buff in itself. However, I'm hoping that they give just a smidge more, like maybe like give Randy 500 more attack on his STMR, like, and then like a small mod move, and that would be enough for me personally, because like 500 attack actually gives you a lot more damage, right? When you just have base 500 more attack,
Mhm.
and then like maybe like a very small LB buff.
Yeah.
Like, that would be really cool. A lot more people will pull to be like, hey, this is a near meta unit or a meta unit. This is a collab that I like. This goes with the Ong that I've got. I got Ong now. I want more people to pull with Ong, because Ong's a good unit, has a good leader skill, and I want to use them together. It's just stuff like that. So like, I hope that was cool. I'm a little worried because they didn't talk about the collab that much, but I'm hoping it was just a rush thing because of Chinese New Year and stuff.
Sure. Okay, so Sketch, you just answered my next question. So Sketch is going to throw some tickets. YinToYang, how are you feeling about the unit so far? I know we haven't gotten the news yet, which is going to come out in like, what, 4 hours or so? And we don't know the kit yet from the release on Thursday, but how are you feeling about the unit so far? Tickets, Lapis, what do you think?
I have not missed a single Lunar New Year unit yet, and they have always been my absolute favorite unit out of our holiday collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're
I'll
in.
be damned if I miss. I'm in.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna miss out on
Yeah.
Ong, and I'm just saying now to the entire community, help me make Baihu a Neovision for next year.
Next year. and Barry, what's the over under on how long it's going to take you to have EX3 of Ong?
Over under on Lapis or time?
Yes, that's a good question. That's a good question.
Oh,
I mean, so we're gonna hope. So the last time that I like really, really, truly cared about the unit that I was pulling was obviously Sylvie way
Mhm.
back when, which we did a pull battle for,
We did.
which I fondly recall. Prior to that, it was Esther, and Esther, I had EX3 before Pity. So I'm thinking, I'm calling it now. We'll have Ong EX3 before Pity.
Okay. Well, I hope that goes well for you. I can't wait to see how it goes.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
We're pumped.
I'm feeling pretty good about this one. You know, I mentioned this before to you guys. Like, I did not pull Mireille. Part of it was like a weird like soapboxy protest thing because I didn't like the system and I didn't want to support the system by pulling Mireille. And I said that, and you know, I'm feeling better about the system now to where like this seems okay. This seems like a good investment for the future. The way the water meta is shifting, and you know, I already like Sketch. I've already got, you know, some water options. You know, I've got Chow EX3.
Currents?
I've got currents. Yes.
Shifting currents.
Yes, shifting, you know, shifting tides, you know, unpredictable tides. There's definitely some jokes we can make here. So I'm thinking I'll probably pull for this one. You know, I definitely want to see the full kit, but I feel good about it. I feel good about what they've shown us so far. So, and I feel good about them responding to the community feedback and making changes, even though it feels like at first glance like maybe too much. But we'll see. Maybe the boss will be tuned better and those changes won't be so severe. We'll see.
So how are you thinking on it? And does the fact if the banner has a card or not affect how you want to pull?
Yes, because if the card is super valuable for a unit I like to pull, if it's just kind of generically good, sometimes yes, sometimes no.
So like basically like going in, like let's say there is a card and there isn't a card, right? Does that change from you going for tickets and using lapis? Or do you think that from what we know already that the unit is probably worth or not worth using lapis for already, right? Like it's just like an early guess of what do you think? Because like obviously you're more sensitized to use lapis if there's a good card for the character on the banner that you want to pull the character for
sure.
Right? But if there's not one, are you more likely to use tickets, or are you more likely to just go pull anyway because A, you haven't pulled in a while, and B, what we've seen so far, he has good abilities.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, we need to see the rest of it.
Yeah. Well, I can only speak for myself. I use tickets for Agrius, Ramza, Orlandu, Beryl, and then I skipped last month, right? So like I don't have a whole lot of tickets left. I've got like 33 or something like that right now. But I've got a big stockpile of lapis. So if they put a card on the banner that's really good and they have really good like allied warriors that are with the step up, you know, that would be awesome for me. Like nothing is ever going to compare to the Hyo Frost banner that had Genesis and Zaz on it. But like if there are good units on here and if there's a good card too, like I'm more inclined to do lapis personally.
See, I only am willing to pull with tickets if I am willing to not pull the unit.
Mm-hmm.
If I want the unit, then just use lapis.
Yeah. Good deal.
Yeah, like I'm hoping to get Ong. Like I'll just be happy with one copy because I still want to save up my lapis because there's so much I want in the future.
Yeah.
And
it's hard.
I gotta be ready for the eventual fact that this is the copium talking. The copium is strong with this one. I am hoping to God I am getting my Neovision plus the FFBE sit at some point.
Well, let's keep an eye out for that one, hopefully. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for coming and hanging out and chatting. It's always a blast, always a blast. And we will be back tomorrow to talk about some of the news that's going to drop in just a few hours. And that's it. So, thank you.
Absolutely.
Praise be to Ong.
Praise be to Ong, who is finally blessing us with his presence. May the sun ever be broken. All right. Be good to each other, everybody. Take care, and we will see you in the next one.